What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So President Donald Trump has just made a major announcement here that is going to affect, well, the whole country. And I'll give you guys the details of it here in this video. This comes as he continues to make more executive orders and policy changes here that is affecting the country and Americans here. And we'll go over the details of it here right now in this video, and I'll show it to you on the screen. We are live right now here on the YouTube It's Jimmy Show. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. You can let me know your city, state, or even your country, as we have people tuning in here from all around the globe. Don't forget to hit that like button for me here. And if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. I will keep you up to date here with everything going on a daily basis. So if you watched my previous video, you've seen that the U.S. is actually planning military plans to attack. We go over that here in this video and also in the previous video, and also NATO. But here in the homeland, we have brand new sweeping tariff announcements that is up to 100%. Take a look here.
Let's begin in Washington, where the president announcing new tariffs impacting trucks, furniture, and the pharma market. Our Eamon Jabber is in D.C. with more. Hey, Eamon.
Carl, that's right. President Trump announced a slate of new tariffs late yesterday focused on pharmaceuticals and trucks as the big headline. He said the U.S. is going to impose a 100% tariff on any branded or patented pharmaceutical product entering the country. That'll begin on October 1st. But that will not apply to companies that are building drug manufacturing plants in the U.S., and it won't apply to projects where construction has already begun. Now, separately, the president said he's going to impose a 25% tariff on imported heavy trucks, also starting on October 1st. He also cited national security for new tariffs on kitchen supplies and furniture, announcing a 50% tariff on all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products, and a 30% tariff on upholstered furniture, both starting also on that October 1st date. The president also announced so-called Section 232 investigations on Wednesday into imports of robotics, industrial machinery, and medical devices. Those could be a precursor to tariffs on those products as well. President Trump also acknowledged on Thursday that the trade war has caused some fallout for American farmers who've seen a drop-off in Chinese purchases of American soybeans in particular. He said he's going to develop a mechanism to transfer some of the tariff dollars that they're taking now from U.S. importers to American farmers to offset some of that politically induced pain. Guys, back over to you.
So what happens, Eamon, for these products that are included already in trade deals or frameworks that have been signed, like a Japan or a Korea or a Europe, where we've already seen these deals? What happens if you have furniture coming from there? Does it go to a minimum tariff rate, or does it get included in this new 100?
That's one of the questions we're going to ask the White House today, is whether those are sort of additive on top of existing sectoral tariffs or regional tariffs. But if they've negotiated with a country and there's a trade deal in place, my guess, Sarah, just a guess, would be that these would not apply there. But we're going to talk to the White House to clarify that, because it's an important distinction, particularly in Europe, where you've got a lot of folks, on the pharmaceutical side who are wondering what this means for them.
Absolutely. So, speaking of tariffs, I do wonder, and this whole idea of exemptions, we talked yesterday with Citadel founder and CEO Ken Griffin, most successful hedge fund manager on the planet, and he doesn't like tariffs, and he pushed back on some of the exemptions we've seen. Listen.
I spoke about my concerns with crony capitalism if we went down the path of tariffs. And the line outside the White House of every business arguing why they should be exempt from paying tariffs on what they import into their products is nauseating.
You don't think Apple should be exempt, given how many of us buy iPhones?
100% not. Why should the second most...
Because iPhones are already very expensive.
And so we're just going to continue to favor big and connected businesses in America?
You don't like the precedent?
Are we going to... Is that our country? That we're going to favor the big and the connected? That's not the American story.
But what about the commitments he's getting in return about investment in America from Apple, from foreign companies, in part to avoid the tariffs, but also just encouraging all of this investment in manufacturing?
So do you think Apple's not acting in its own self-interest?
I'm sure it is.
And I'm nothing against Tim Cook. I mean, Tim Cook's doing what he as CEO should do vis-a-vis his shareholders. But when the state becomes involved in picking winners and losers, there's only one way this game ends. All of us lose.
Eamon, I'm just curious, as someone who speaks to the White House very often about these policies. I mean, this comes from a Republican, Ken Griffin, and obviously someone who has pretty strong views, but also, touches all these businesses and finance and raises this point about crony capitalism and picking winners and losers.
Yeah, Sarah, first of all, I mean, great interview with Ken Griffin yesterday. I mean, it got a lot of attention in D.C., I can tell you that much. But if you ask the White House this question, what they will tell you is, yes, we might be picking winners and losers, but we're doing that in a deliberate, thought-out way. We have a strategy here. They view the president as the best person to make those determinations.
So this comes as U.S. will impose 100% tariffs on branded and patented drugs unless firms build plants locally, which will not happen overnight. And this will also include any branded or patented pharmaceutical product starting on October 1st, coming from any country, it looks like. This will for sure raise costs because companies cannot absorb a 100% tariff, which means double the price. So let me know your guys' thoughts on pharmaceutical drugs, prescription drugs, going to double the price, a 100% tariff. Remember, a 50% tariff means 50% more. 100% tariff means double the cost. So, wow. Let me know your thoughts on this. You can see another headline here from a logistics website. Tariffs on furniture, heavy trucks, and pharmaceuticals set to reshape the supply chain costs and sourcing strategies starting October 1st. This comes as tariffs are bringing in, it's a recent detail said, $30 billion per month for the U.S., which a lot of it is having to raise prices. I mean, if a manufacturer has to pay a 100% tariff on their product that they didn't have to pay before, and now their product is literally twice as much money on, say, a sofa, a furniture sofa or whatever, and that sofa would have cost them $300, and now they have to pay $600. It's double the cost, a 100% tariff. They have to raise their prices. There's just no ifs, ands about it. If you know anything about, selling products like that, there's just no way you can absorb a 100% tariff and still sell things for the same price that you would have sold them for without the 100% tariff. Nobody has a 100% profit margin. And if you have to pay 100% more, you have to raise the price. And if you have to raise the price, that means that the American consumers are paying more. This is just costing Americans more money. Now, this is why we have seen, if you've seen my previous video about the $2,400 checks coming from Republicans in Congress and for President Donald Trump, I will link you to that video here in a moment, to kind of give back to Americans some of this tariff money to help offset some of these costs. So that would help offset some of these costs because recent analysis has actually put that at around $2,400 per year that the average American is spending because of price increases. Now, we also have a government shutdown here that would happen at the end of the month, only a few days away. President Donald Trump warns it may happen and blames Democrats. Democrats are blaming Republicans. President Donald Trump says that Republicans won't cave to Democrats, demanding a negotiation to avert a shutdown on Friday, deepening the partisan stalemate just a few days before the government could close without a new spending plan in place. Democrats are insisting on subsidies for the ACA, Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, to be renewed. If they're not renewed, it will raise health insurance costs for millions of Americans. But Republicans are not necessarily for that and haven't been since, well, it was enacted by Obama. And Republicans are in cutting mode, so we're not exactly seeing that here as well. But this would raise health insurance costs for tens of millions of Americans. So it is a possibility that we could see this happen. Now, remember here that to pass any government shutdown bill or any bill in Congress right now, besides a reconciliation bill, you need 60 votes in the Senate, which requires Republicans and Democrats to agree on the bill. This is different than when the Republicans passed the big, beautiful bill, which was a reconciliation bill, where the Republicans passed that completely on their own because they have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they were to pass that only with a simple majority in the Senate, which is 50-51 votes, okay, a simple majority, okay? That's how they passed the Trump tax cuts, renewed the Trump tax cuts, which basically lowers taxes for all Americans that pays taxes, but it also has the Medicaid cuts in there, SNAP cuts in there. We covered that here in a previous video. And the Affordable Care Act will see cuts if they're not renewed by the end of this year. Okay, so we have that as well, which, you know, a lot of people get basically subsidies from the government to help them afford health care. Okay. The United States is the only country, the only first world country in the world that basically doesn't provide health care to their citizens, and you can actually go bankrupt because of your health, which is kind of crazy. Imagine going bankrupt because you get sick. That's the United States, right? So, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. But then on the other hand, you look at the U.S., it's $34 trillion in debt. The spending continues to just go up and up and up every year. And before you know it, we're going to be $50 trillion in debt. And you got to kind of wonder here, what do you continue to spend on for the government and what don't you continue to spend on? It's difficult. Right? It's difficult because there's so many worthy causes, and if you spend on everything, you'd be at $50 trillion in a year or two. And this is where difference of opinion, you can ask 100 people, and they'll have a different opinion on, a lot of different opinions there. And a lot of different opinions will be based on that person personally benefiting as well. So, yeah, this is where we're in a pickle here with this country, and 1/3 of Americans don't even have an emergency fund. 50% of Americans retire with nothing but Social Security, and Social Security is set to run out of money in as little as by 2033, which is it's about to be 2026 here. So it's like 3 is 7 years almost. So. Yeah, we got a serious concern here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will keep you up to date here as Congress tries to do something. We will see. So share this video on social media. Share this video with anybody that needs to hear this information. I will keep you up to date here. Click here to see details on Trump's $2,400 stimulus checks and more in this video. Or click here to see breaking news about the U.S. military and World War III. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.